My name is Aisha Shaheed. I'm with the network Women Living Under Muslim Laws. We're an international feminist solidarity network. We operate in over 90 countries around the world, and we address ourselves to women in Muslim-majority contexts and otherwise. One thing we've really noticed over the last 25 years of our network is the intense power of women's activism. We've seen really concrete evidence of this beyond just movement building. One campaign we're working on at the moment is called the Global Campaign to Stop Killing and Stoning Women. And although stoning is practiced and is conducted by the state, for example in Iran, or by non-state actors in places like Afghanistan and Iraq, in Nigeria there's been two very visible cases where women were about to be stoned. The only reason that these stoning sentences were not executed was because of women's voices, was because of local women speaking out against this practice and tapping into their allies around the world. We recently had a success story in Iran where Mokarame Ibrahimi had been waiting in jail for almost 10 years to be stoned. Her partner was stoned to death. She has a young child. And because of the dedication of her feminist human rights lawyers and the support that the Iranian women's movement was able to mobilize throughout our networks, throughout our friends and colleagues, a few months ago Mokarame walked out of the prison and she never thought that she would do that. Unfortunately, we don't have enough of these success stories, but they're out there. In Pakistan, women have been faced with the Hudud ordinances, which were introduced under martial law in the late 70s. And in effect, these laws allow a woman who has been raped to be convicted of adultery. Even if she is engaged in consensual extramarital sexual relations, it is considered adultery. The majority of women in prisons in Pakistan are there because they have been raped. Yet these laws are on the books and they have been allowed to continue. In the last year, there has been reform of this law. It's not perfect, but it's been changed. And this has not been handed to us by the national government, most certainly, nor by UN bodies, but by women themselves, by keeping this issue on the agenda relentlessly and refusing to let this issue die. And so to me, this is really an example of our collective power. A coalition that we have been working with as part of our network is the International Coalition on Women's Human Rights Defenders. And this is a couple of dozen organizations around the world, mainstream human rights organizations, women organizations, and individual members who have come together to really prioritize the issue of women who defend the rights of other women and our male allies. The WHRD coalition is extremely important for us in framing the way that we think about women's activism, not just as collective movement building, but as a transformative process that we can use to enact real change in the lives of other women.